So first off, CDW's ServiceNow practice. I mentioned this earlier. We've been a partner now. This is our 10th year. And I think maybe more importantly, in some senses, we're also a customer of ServiceNow for over 10 years. And through that time, as we bring those two things together, we learned a lot about how to drive incremental value out of the ServiceNow platform, how to get ServiceNow implemented into an organization for ultimately lower investments while still driving, powerful outcomes. So today we're going to talk a little bit about those programs and specifically an offering we call CDW's SNAS or ServiceNow. So why build SNAS or ServiceNow as a service? Well, CDW's been working on this for a while, and it's a new option for getting started with ServiceNow. Kevin, if we can advance the slide, please. Perfect. As we worked with many clients, we found some clients were really interested in moving over to ServiceNow, but the initial upfront costs, whether it's the implementation costs, the time, or both, and also the fact that in order to really fully leverage ServiceNow, you've got to have some resources that are continually going to drive more ROI. Not because ServiceNow needs a lot to keep it up and running or keeping the lights on, but the whole reason to move to ServiceNow is what the platform can do for the entire business. So it never ends in terms of, adding new things, configuring new things, driving more ROI. But there were barriers for some clients. So we put together a program called ServiceNow as a Service to shorten the project timelines, kind of get that initial cost down, lighten the need for customers to have in-house staff or admin support, but also have a plan for continuous improvement. And SNAS is what we're going to share with you. So let's go ahead and move forward. And for those of you that are on this call that also already have ServiceNow, wanted to share this thought with you. Some of what you're going to see in our SNAS offering, so if you stay tuned, stay on the call and see kind of how we help clients manage their instances of ServiceNow under this program, a lot of that is also available to you as an existing ServiceNow customer in a different way or fashion. We've got multiple programs like a Smart Flex or a Smart Assure, Smart Admin, where clients that already have ServiceNow implemented and have their own instance set up and they've been managing it themselves or using a partner for that, we've got programs that can plug in to do exactly the same thing. Take a lot of that weight off you, help accelerate, expand, and generate more value from what you guys are already doing with your platform. So stay tuned, and if you're interested in that, happy to follow up and share more with you. But on that note, I'm going to turn the mic over to Kevin Griggs, who's going to give us a tour. Kevin heads up our managed services for the ServiceNow practice here inside of CDW. And as Kevin's taking you for the next 20, 25 minutes or so, if you have questions, use the question side of the panel here, and I'll take a look at those as those come in, and we'll try to get to all of them. And if we don't get to all of them, we'll make sure as a follow-up, we'll reach out to you individually. So Kevin, mic is yours.
Thanks, John. So why CDW's managed instance product, ServiceNow as a Service? We designed this solution to give mid-sized organizations access to a full ServiceNow instance stack. This is not a domain-separated offering where you're being forced to do your business process the way the service provider wants you to do them. This is instead a custom configured ServiceNow instance stack that's going to allow you to grow on the platform if that's the direction you want to head. The full platform becomes available to you because it is that managed instance solution. Delivery is led by a US-based core team, and in some of these offerings, it's 100% US team. Why? Because we're trying to do this with the most effective and efficient resources possible that can interact with you in real time, not in the middle of the night for them. We do leverage our offshore for some of this delivery on the higher end offering that we'll discuss at the end of the presentation. All of the interactions with ServiceNow are handled by CDW in this model. Your staff doesn't have to learn how to interact with ServiceNow. We do that as a turnkey part of our solution. The technical effort. We provide an application that resides on this ServiceNow instance that allows you as a customer to track everything that we're doing, to prioritize the work, to give you transparency into what's going on in your system, when is that work going to be done, because that's a major problem anytime you choose to outsource or out-task work, is when is it going to be done? How much effort did it take? All of that tracking of And we want to be transparent about what we're doing on your behalf. All of these solutions include an ability to do all of the upgrades and patching on the ServiceNow instance as part of normal operations and keep the lights on activities. We handle all of the incidents around ServiceNow itself, and all of these solutions offer an enhancement budget for you to do additional digital transformation, to move additional workflows into ServiceNow, or to even add additional modules within ServiceNow. The focus here. The focus is on a low-cost implementation. We're attempting to provide a solution that eliminates some of the major problems of ServiceNow adoption in the mid-market, lowering the cost of adoption, improving the time to market. In a traditional ServiceNow implementation, even a small organization can be out $250,000 in 13 to 18 weeks before being able to put ticket one into the system. We also tried to take this to truly a as a service model by moving things into a monthly fee basis, possibly including even the ServiceNow licenses. Because in this model, CDW owns the licenses for your ServiceNow, giving us the ability to leverage our buying power and our position in the market to pass on to you flexibility in how you purchase your ServiceNow. Reasons why. Things we're trying to address, right? Bottom left-hand corner. Here in the ServiceNow space, there are nowhere near enough technical resources to do the work. There's a constant labor risk as someone who's using ServiceNow that you train up your people and those people get recruited out, right, into the consulting community or by another larger user of ServiceNow. Real wages increase very quickly for someone who's got advanced ServiceNow certifications, the kind of people you need in your system. That's why having CDW as a one-stop shop, being able to leverage our 300 plus ServiceNow certified professionals to come in and do work for you at all levels of expertise, so you don't have to deal with that labor risk. All of the implementation is designed around a best practice approach. We're going to start from this is the way that ServiceNow handles these issues out of the box. How do you wish to deviate? We're doing that for a couple of reasons. One, we want to align to best practices, make sure you maintain upgradability. But two, it's also that speed to market. If we start from a blank slate and design those processes without providing some kind of advisory up front, that's how you end up in that 13 to 18 week implementation cycle. Because we're focused here on a low, predictable cost. Time, when you're engaging with consulting partners and professional services providers, is money. The faster and better we can implement for you, the cheaper the implementation becomes. We then maintain a bench of those process experts that are on call for you when you choose to enhance or add another piece to the platform. We do configure this implementation to your organization, starting from that ServiceNow best practice position. But most importantly, at CDW, we're concerned about how to help you get the maximum amount of value out of this ServiceNow Ferrari. When you come into the ServiceNow platform and you start down this journey, you're getting the industry leader in workflow management, IT workflows, customer workflows, HR workflows. Right? But many people struggle to get that ServiceNow Ferrari out of first gear. That's our focus. How do we help you maximize the amount of value for your spend in ServiceNow? And to do that, we bring some additional technologies to bear that are not from ServiceNow, designed to enhance your experience and increase the stability of your instance. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and here you get both. This is how it works, folks, right? You are in the same ServiceNow cloud as everyone else. CDW has purchased those licenses on your behalf. We handle all of the conversations with ServiceNow around licensing, escalations, upgrades, patching. That's all taken care of by CDW. But more importantly, your end user community, your end user customers of your IT services have exactly the same experience as if you transacted directly with ServiceNow. Your IT organization focused on your strategic initiatives then can interact using that smart admin application with named resources, not shared resources, but named resources that are going to help them get the maximum amount of value out of that system by fulfilling any kind of work intake, any kind of enhancement requests, any kind of day-to-day administration necessary for you to derive that value. We then bring to bear those additional products. We have products that will help us to back up your ServiceNow instance, enabling us to do a cell-by-cell, restore in the event that somebody walks through a life cycle a little bit more than they should on an asset, as an example. That basic implementation I'm talking about, this is key, right? ServiceNow can do a great number of things for you, but as you do that, you have to implement all of those licenses. You have to spend the time to understand the business processes that you want to implement in ServiceNow. By keeping this implementation simple, crawl first, then walk, then run, it enables us to greatly reduce the cost of implementation. What's that basic implementation? We're starting with ITSM. Why? Because that's where ServiceNow came from. Yes, it's moved well beyond that. But when we start with ITSM, we give you a basic implementation. We allow your team to start understanding ServiceNow, experiencing ServiceNow with a basic incident management configuration, a basic change management implementation, some simple catalog requests, right? We set you up for success by getting you on the platform much faster. And then as we're in that walk phase, we can work with you to enhance the platform to give you more and more functionality to take advantage of the platform. The key to this, however, is speed, right? Doing the implementation end to end in 30 days, right? That requires teamwork, requires both of us to get there, right? But by doing this fast implementation, your time to value becomes 30 days, not a quarter. That gets you on the platform, entering tickets in the platform, exploring the platform, learning from the platform, but in a way that gives your end user customers a good experience, because that first experience is key. If you bite off too much in that initial implementation and your own team isn't ready for it, then the end users have a bad experience, right? Then you're in recovery mode. Better to have a simple, excellent experience to start and then work with your end user community to add more and more services as you go. So the first option we have for managing your instance of ServiceNow is what we call Smart Admin Lite. This is really designed for smaller organizations. It is a minimalist support option designed to be, again, low cost. In order to do that, we had to target, who was the best fit. Really, this is targeted at IT organizations under 100 individuals. People that have constrained headcounts, organizations that might want all of their work done in the US for whatever reasons, whether it be security or trade secrets, and for organizations that really they want to extend that crawl period, right? They don't have a big roadmap of ServiceNow already in mind. So really learning to crawl. In this option, what we do is we leverage a role we call a technical consultant. Technical consultants have a superpower, right? So these are highly certified ServiceNow professionals, multiple certified implementation specialist certifications, certified system administration, certified developer in many cases. But their superpower is the ability to talk to human beings, right? So that is a named resource that's dedicated to you and a small number of customers for 120 to 160 hours per quarter. And they're going to work against those hours to do your upgrades, to do your enhancements, to answer simple questions, to help enable you to get the value out of the platform. But they don't work alone, right? They've got access to a pool of strategic resources, depending on your size, 120 to 240 hours a year, that they can pull in to tackle more advanced issues. Working together, that team managed by the Smart Admin application, provides you with all that keep the lights on support and ongoing enhancement of the system. We've stripped out all of the frills, right? But we make those available at a fixed fee by the drink. an annual roadmap to roadmap out your ServiceNow adoption and how you might be able to derive additional value outside of it. Using some of the excellent software partners that we've developed, Quality Clouds for scanning the health of a ServiceNow instance, Navia for business process design work. We strip those things out, but we make them available by the drink, should they be desired. And you get everything you would expect from a normal managed service, right? A quarterly business review, dashboards to keep track of the work, so that you can oversee and manage our work. So when we look at roles and responsibilities, right, we still need to work together on these areas of collaboration. How are you going to take advantage of the platform? How are you going to govern this work? How are you going to authorize it? Somebody's got to review and accept the work. But then we handle all of the keep the lights on administration. We handle all of the enhancements to help you get the most value out of your ServiceNow instance. So the way this team is structured, you've got that technical consultant based here in the United States, their supervisor, who used to be a technical consultant, there to oversee their work, make sure that there's a backup for when that technical consultant takes a vacation. But these are people that you're going to know. You're going to have relationships with these folks. And then they're going to pull on our strategic resource pool in order to deliver higher value services as needed. But that way you only pay for those resources. They come out of that pool when you need them. So what do those resources look like? So solution architects. Solution architects are practical technical professionals. They design enhancements. They provide architectural support and design the work that's going to be done by developers. Technical architects. So these are certified technical architects that are specialists in an area of the ServiceNow platform. So if you wish to explore HR service delivery, we would tap into the technical architect for HR service delivery to come in and help you design what you want it to do in that space. Service management advisors. This is a role that's kind of unique to CDW. Many of these individuals have worked for me before in my career at other ServiceNow partners or at large consulting organizations. Many of them come from operations backgrounds, CIOs, directors of IT, associate directors of IT. They bring that functional piece that's so often missing in relationships with service providers in the ServiceNow space. They've been there. They've used ServiceNow to deliver services to their customers, whether that be managing a help desk or providing vulnerability response for a large organization. So they put that practical spin on ServiceNow to help you really get the value out of the tool. They're supported by business process consultants that can help you redesign processes or document your processes in order to improve them. And business analysts there to capture requirements that can then be handed off to the technical team for development. So what does this cost? We targeted this at the mid-market for a reason. The whole reason I came to CDW was to build this offering. Right? When we looked at the marketplace, what did we see? We saw standard implementation costing $150,000 to $180,000. Lose that. $30,000 fixed fee for basic ITSM implementation. When we looked across the ecosystem, what did we see? We saw customers having to lay out $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 up front to buy their ServiceNow licenses for which they were not going to derive any value for a quarter. So we came up with a way that we can take that ServiceNow licensing, fold it into a transaction so that you can be on the ServiceNow platform, fully supported, including licenses, for under $20,000 a month. So there are obviously some assumptions here around the size of your ServiceNow environment and around the complexity. There are levers to adjust the cost. The more strategic resources you need, that's going to increase the cost. The more you increase your implementation scope, the more that's going to influence your cost. But this is what we're trying to provide: a low cost, high speed, fast time to value solution in the ServiceNow space. Now, for larger customers, we do have an option, but I see John might have a question for me.
Yeah, Kevin, a couple things, and
Yeah.
this is great, all tied, I think, to everyone vetting a little bit of what kind of headcounts make this make sense. And you just shared the one example on the light. In that example, you had about 30 IT folks using the ServiceNow platform. We know, we're going to talk about this version here, but overall, Kevin, um, two questions have come up. One, general size of the organization that we're talking about. How many employees or coworkers, from a sizing perspective, might find
Great.
this to make
Great
sense?
question, John. So most of the customers that are interested in this kind of offering vary in size from a couple hundred employees to a couple thousand employees, right? But it really depends on your business model. So you could be a 5,000 person or 5,000 person uh, construction company, but your core IT staff is 4 people. So you're a 5,000 person organization, but this is a great solution for you because it supports your
Yeah.
outsourcers that are doing most of your IT, your very small IT organization, and enables you on a platform that you can push digital transformation out to the field in. So,
Yeah, so that's why you key a lot off of number of IT folks, which we typically talk somewhere under 400 is where this starts to get intriguing. And then the other point, maybe you could just highlight a little bit more about this, because ServiceNow MSP offerings have been out there where people are going on someone else's instance and getting a subset of functionality, and they're kind of there and stuck there. And the day comes when they want to move off because they can't configure, expand, or do the things they really want to do. They're starting from scratch. Can you talk a little bit about the transition for someone that starts out on this program and eventually decides, I'm going to build an in-house ServiceNow team, and I'm going to take more control over the day-to-day life of ServiceNow. And hey, we're acquiring a couple of businesses, we're growing. Tell us a little bit about the differences there.
yeah, can do, John. So, conveniently, I was in a customer conversation immediately before this call on this exact topic. So, in this solution, you are on a ServiceNow instance stack. For you to take over that stack is a simple transfer of the licensing from CDW, the license holder, to you as an individual company. It's a very simple transaction, right? Works fine, lasts a long time. But now let's talk about if you're on a domain separated instance. So if you're on a domain separated instance, those instances were designed where 80% of the work is actually being done by the service provider staff. When you go to transition off of that managed service instance, this is the process. Your managed service provider must agree to clone their instance, create a complete copy of that instance, strip away everybody else's data except yours. Then that data has to be pulled into a ServiceNow instance through a data migration. But you're not going to configure your ServiceNow the same way that service provider did. So your fields aren't going to match, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to have the same data structures that that service provider had. So what happens is what should be a normal implementation of ServiceNow for you, for sake of argument, $150,000. Now, because you're coming off of that instance, if your disentanglement from the MSP includes that you even have the right to do so, an additional $100,000 plus to get your data from that MSP.
It makes sense, Kevin. So the CDW way from day one, it's the customer's own instance contractually, very easy to move over when the customer requests that. And unlike the other scenario, that system, whether it's a year, 2, 3 years in, has been designed and built with and for that customer for the workflows they wanted, for the parts of the module they wanted to use. It's a perfect seamless takeover of the system in that case.
Exactly.
Great. And I know you're going to talk us through the next level up, the standard version. So we'll let you go ahead and do that.
Awesome. Thanks, John. So for mid-sized organizations, we do have a slightly more robust service offering that we refer to as our Smart Admin Standard. So we implement this full or partial outsource of ServiceNow support for organizations that need help keeping the lights on or simply don't want to keep the lights on in this range of 75 to 350 IT professionals in the organization. Again, a good solution for customers who plan on expanding on the platform, right? It's got a little bit more horsepower in terms of development. It's very easy to get a lot of work done very inexpensively in this model, right? When we look at this model, all of those things that we stripped out of the light become included. An annual road mapping session included. Quality cloud scan of the instance to ensure the quality of the overall upgradability, security of the system included, done on a quarterly basis. Leveraging that Navia software to better collaborate around how can we take your employee IT and customer workflows and pull them into the platform. CDW provides now a cross-functional team. That technical consultant role is still critical and is still a named resource for you, but we now deploy a cross-functional team to support across the entire platform. All of the keep the lights on activity becomes part of a fixed fee. So there's no burn down of hours. We become responsible and accountable for all of your upgrades, all of your patching, all of your incidents against the ServiceNow platform, all of your administrative tasks. Those are all included. We provide an enhancement budget of, the standard here being 3 extra large stories that can be subdivided per quarter. An extra large story has roughly 40 hours of development plus all of the supporting roles. We keep track of it using the development hours. We still use that same Smart Admin application, but now we're doing that work against a set of SLAs with penalties. Quarterly business reviews, monthly metrics, monthly grooming sessions against your backlog, all part of this service. When we look at this team, we do start to normally move the administration work and some of the development work to India in a shared pool model. Why? Because it allows us to give you a lot more bang for your dollar. So we move that to our development centers in Hyderabad, Chennai, and Bangalore so that we can leverage those amazing offshore resources to provide you excellent service at a lower cost. In addition to the technical consultant as a named resource, you also gain a service coordinator. A service coordinator is there as a central point of contact to ensure that you've always got somebody that you can go to make sure the trains are running on time. We then bring in that service management advisor in a recurring role, also a named resource, so that you have a partner that you can go to around functional aspects of your ServiceNow implementation. And then we tap into that strategic resource pool for solution architects and technical architects as needed to provide you with the high level of expertise that you're going to need in order to fully get the benefits out of this platform. A little bit on roles. We do, just to talk a little bit about this, because we often get questions from customers. What do I need on my side? So somebody on your side has to own the platform, right? That platform owner. But in addition, process owners, the people who determine how do we take a help desk call? One person. Who owns it? Who do we work with to get that authorization to move forward with a piece of work in that area? Right? Who are your key business stakeholders that are going to derive benefit from the platform? Right? Not a lot of time is needed from those people, but we do need to know who they are and develop a partnership with them so that we can collaborate with that day-to-day team. Our roles and responsibilities remain largely the same from the light. With the addition of, we start to put into place an agile solution train to run your enhancements as part of normal releases. The goal here is to do a monthly or quarterly release, depending on what works with your organization. It's important to note that in this model, those sprints can be pulled from forward back or pushed forward in order to accomplish larger project work. Financial model changes a little bit. It's a little bit more expensive. I kept the the size of the ServiceNow instance the same. What happens to the cost? Cost goes up about $10,000 plus or minus per month to cover the additional technical time that is brought to bear in this model. Right? So you get those 3 extra large development sprints per quarter. You gain that annual road mapping session. You gain a direct named relationship with service management advisor and service coordinator, who are all there to help you drive the maximum amount of value out of the ServiceNow platform. Thank you for your time and attention. I would welcome any questions you might have.
Well, thanks, Kevin. I'll keep an eye on some additional questions as they come in here for you. I wanted to share with the group, and I do have one question that popped up, so I'll get you started on that one. In this kind of program, this kind of setup, when you talk about those 3 extra large enhancement sprints per quarter, can you give some examples of the kinds of work that gets done in an extra large enhancement sprint?
Sure, John. So when we talk about an extra large enhancement sprint, you could implement the problem management module or the continuous improvement management modules within ServiceNow inside that kind of extra large sprint. When we look at that sprint, we're measuring the development time. So all of the time necessary to gather requirements, to work out business processes is included as part of the overall fee. All we're looking at is what did the developers have to spend in order to do that enhancement. So an integration to another system would fit in that space. Right? To give people an idea, we would subdivide that extra large into a series of smaller elements in order to knock out 5 to 6 catalog items, perhaps even more, depending on their level of complexity in that same 40-hour sprint.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. So a couple other questions coming in. Any limitations in terms of integrations? So a question came in from Kathy. Would a site be able to leverage all integrations that ServiceNow is capable of?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because this is a ServiceNow instance in the ServiceNow cloud. So any normal integration that you could do in a ServiceNow instance could be done here.
Yeah. Good. And maybe I'll put a bow on a couple of things here. So first of all, for those that don't have ServiceNow yet and you're thinking about getting into it, reach out to us. We'll help you evaluate the pros and cons of both, right? Going this route, which is much lower cost upfront, spread your licensing fees into a monthly part of a monthly spend tied into overall management and maintenance of the system, right? Versus having your own instance, supporting it yourself, traditional implementation. So it's an invite for Kevin, myself, the team here to meet with you and help you really evaluate both paths, help determine which one might be right for you. For those of you that already have ServiceNow, clearly you have your own instance. Chances are you have a lot of good equity in that instance. The programs we shared earlier, our managed services programs, like a SmartFlex, they're built for you. They're built to attach to what you have, either take some of the admin load off you, or better yet, be the engine that accelerates your enhancement program, right? So if you want help driving more out of ServiceNow, but you already have it in place, we can attach that kind of maintenance and management programs to an existing system. So those are 2 things I just wanted to recap. In all cases, we welcome invites for one-on-one meetings, workshops, whatever it can do to help you understand both options a little bit more clearly. And as a follow-up to this email, we'll send out a note recording link you can share with others, but also an open invite to request a meeting with us. Kevin, I think that's all we have from a question perspective for now. Thanks so much for the content and the time. And as always, we look forward to continuing the dialogue with our CDW customers.
Thanks, everybody, for your time today.
Thanks all.